Listen to me. I don't know who you think you are right now, but I know who you are not. You are not weak, you are not broken, and you are not late. You are asleep. And most people never wake up. They live their entire lives reacting, waiting, hoping that something outside of them will finally change how they feel inside. They scroll, they complain, they postpone, and they call that living. But deep down, something in you knows the truth. That discomfort you feel is not anxiety. It is awareness. It is the part of you that refuses to die average. But instead of listening to it, you've been trying to silence it. With comfort, with distraction, with excuses that sound logical but keep you exactly where you are. Let me tell you something no one tells you. Motivation will not save you. If motivation worked, you would already be where you want to be. Motivation is what people use when they don't want to take responsibility, because motivation allows you to quit without feeling guilty. I just didn't feel it today. I wasn't in the right headspace. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes for people who live by emotions. Let me ask you something. How many times have you felt motivated and still did nothing? Exactly. Because feelings don't build lives, decisions do. And the hardest decision you'll ever make is to stop negotiating with yourself. You don't need more confidence. You don't need clarity. You don't need a sign. You need to move while your mind is screaming for comfort. That is where separation happens. Right now, there are two versions of you. One that wants relief, and one that wants respect. Relief says, rest, avoid, delay. Respect says, stand up, do the work, face it. And every day you vote for one of them. Most people vote for relief. And then they wonder why they don't respect themselves. Self-respect is not something you think about. It is something you earn. You earn it every time you keep a promise when no one is watching, when it's uncomfortable, when it would be easier to walk away. This is not about becoming extreme. This is about becoming honest. Honest about the fact that your life will not change until your standards do. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. And right now, your standards are asking too little of you. You are capable of more pressure, more discipline, more responsibility than you have been allowing yourself to carry. But pressure reveals character, and that scares people. Because once you see who you could be, you can't unsee it, and excuses stop working. So here is the moment of truth. You can close this video and go back to sleep. Or you can stay here, feel the discomfort, and accept that your life demands more from you. Not later, not someday. Now. Because the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret follows you for life. They told you that you were lazy. They labeled you weak. They said you lacked discipline. But what if none of that is true? What if the real problem was never laziness, but disconnection? A disconnected mind does not move. A disconnected soul does not fight. A disconnected body resists effort. You don't wake up tired because you slept too little. You wake up tired because you are not aligned with who you are meant to become. That kind of exhaustion is spiritual, and no amount of coffee fixes that. Look around. People are not lacking information. They are drowning in it. They know what to do. They know what they should change. They know what they want. But knowledge without identity creates paralysis. When you don't know who you are, every action feels heavy. Every task feels forced. Every step feels like you're pushing against yourself. That's why motivation dies so fast. Motivation cannot survive in a body that does not believe in its own future. The moment you reconnect with a clear internal identity, effort stops feeling like punishment. Pain starts to feel meaningful. Discipline stops being a cage and becomes freedom. This is why some people suffer and grow, while others suffer and break. Same pain, different meaning. You were never lazy. You were just disconnected from a vision strong enough to wake you up. And once that connection is restored, you don't need motivation anymore. You move because not moving hurts more. Most people hate discipline because they misunderstand it. They think discipline is control. Control over desire. Control over emotion. control over life. But discipline is not control. Discipline is commitment. It is a decision made once and honored daily. Undisciplined people are not free. They are enslaved by impulse. Every mood controls them. Every excuse commands them. Every distraction owns them. That is not freedom. That is chaos. Discipline is what separates people who feel powerful from people who feel lost. Not because disciplined people are better, but because they are clearer. They know what they are building, and they refuse to betray it. Discipline hurts in the beginning because it kills an old identity. The identity that runs. The identity that avoids discomfort. The identity that quits silently. That version of you will fight to survive. It will whisper excuses. It will manufacture fatigue. It will tell you that tomorrow is safer. But tomorrow is where dreams go to die. Discipline is choosing discomfort now instead of regret later. And once discipline becomes your language, your mind becomes sharp, your body becomes reliable, and your confidence stops depending on results. You trust yourself again. That is power. Let's be honest. You are not afraid of failure. You are afraid of pain. Pain of effort. Pain of consistency. Pain of becoming someone new. But pain is not the enemy. Pain is the price. Every transformation demands payment. You either pay with effort now, or you pay with regret later. There is no third option. The strongest people are not those who suffer less. They are the ones who decided that their pain would have meaning. Pain without purpose breaks people. Pain with purpose builds legends. That's why comfort is so dangerous. Comfort feels safe, but it steals your future quietly. Growth does not whisper. Growth demands. It demands that you show up tired, that you act without applause, that you move even when motivation is dead. This is where identity is forged, not in comfort, not in ease, but in repetition under resistance. If your life feels heavy right now, it might be because you are carrying the weight of becoming. And that weight is not punishment. It is preparation. There is a moment in every life where pain stops asking for permission. It arrives without warning. It doesn't explain itself. And it doesn't care if you feel ready. Most people try to escape it. They distract themselves. They numb themselves. They pretend it isn't happening. But pain does not disappear when ignored. It only grows louder. What if pain was never meant to destroy you? What if pain was meant to interrupt the life that no longer fits you? Pain is often the first honest signal you receive. It tells you the truth when comfort has lied to you for years. It exposes what is unsustainable. It reveals what you have been tolerating instead of changing. People say they want growth, but they reject the very force that produces it. Because growth demands confrontation, and confrontation hurts. Pain is the classroom that the ego refuses to enter. You learn nothing when everything is easy. You evolve nothing when everything is familiar. You become nothing when nothing challenges you. Every meaningful transformation in human history was born inside discomfort. The problem is not pain. The problem is meaningless pain. Pain without direction becomes suffering. Pain with purpose becomes power. That is the difference between those who break and those who rise. At some point, strong people make a decision. They stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" And they start asking, "What is this here to teach me?" That question changes everything. Because now pain is no longer an enemy. It becomes a guide. Pain sharpens perception. Pain strips illusions. Pain forces honesty. When life hurts, it is demanding your attention. Not your panic, not your escape, your attention. If you listen instead of run, pain will show you exactly where you have been lying to yourself, about your limits, about your excuses, about your potential. Most people numb pain because they are afraid of what it will reveal. But the strongest people lean into it. They understand that pain is temporary, but the lesson it carries can change a lifetime. If you are hurting right now, do not rush to silence it. Ask what it is shaping. Because pain, when accepted, is not punishment. It is preparation. Most people believe their problem is lack of motivation. It's not. Their real problem is that they allow desire to sit in the driver's seat. They wake up and ask themselves how they feel. They decide their actions based on mood. They negotiate with discomfort. And every time they do that, they lose authority over their own life. Desire is unstable. It changes daily. It disappears the moment effort is required. Discipline is different. Discipline does not ask permission. It does not need enthusiasm. It does not wait for the perfect moment. Discipline acts because it was decided long before emotion entered the room. Here is the hard truth most people avoid. If you only act when you feel like it, you will never build anything meaningful. Because the most important actions in life rarely come with pleasant emotions. Discipline is the ability to act without emotional approval. It is choosing what matters over what feels good. Every strong individual understands this distinction. They do not ask, "What do I want today?" They ask, "What does the mission require?" And that question changes identity. When discipline becomes your default, life stops being chaotic. You no longer depend on bursts of inspiration. You stop starting over. You stop negotiating with weakness. You begin to move forward consistently, even on days when nothing inside you agrees. This is why discipline feels uncomfortable in the beginning. It challenges the ego. The ego wants pleasure now. The ego wants comfort now. The ego wants recognition now. Discipline delays gratification and redirects energy towards something bigger than the moment. Most people resist discipline because it exposes truth. It reveals how much of their life is being run by impulse, by distraction, by avoidance. But discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. It is the daily proof that you can trust yourself. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens identity. Every promise you break weakens it. Over time, this becomes internal confidence, not the loud kind, the quiet, unshakable kind, the kind that does not need validation. Discipline builds order. Order builds clarity. Clarity builds power, and power comes from consistency, not intensity. You do not need to dominate every day. You need to show up every day. That is the difference between people who change temporarily and people who transform permanently. Discipline does not make life smaller. It makes life predictable enough that you can build something meaningful inside it. When discipline replaces desire as the leader, you stop being controlled by circumstance. You become the one who decides. There comes a point where growth demands a brutal decision. You either take total responsibility for your life, or you continue negotiating with excuses. There is no third option. Most people want progress without ownership. They want results without accountability. They want change without discomfort. And that is why they remain stuck. Responsibility is the moment you stop outsourcing your power. You stop blaming the past. You stop blaming other people. You stop blaming circumstances. Not because they never mattered, but because they no longer get to decide who you become. As long as someone else is responsible, you are powerless. Victimhood feels safe because it removes pressure, but it also removes agency. Taking responsibility is uncomfortable because it removes every hiding place. No one to point at, no one to accuse, no one to wait for. Only you. And that is exactly why responsibility is liberation. When everything is your fault, everything becomes your solution. You stop asking for permission to improve. You stop waiting for conditions to align. You stop hoping someone will save you. You move. Responsibility turns pain into data, failure into feedback, mistakes into instruction. Instead of asking who failed me, you ask what do I need to correct. That mindset builds leaders, leaders of companies, leaders of families, leaders of their own internal world. People who take responsibility do not waste energy on resentment. They convert it into direction. They understand that life is not fair, but fairness was never the requirement for greatness. Ownership is. Responsibility demands honesty. Honesty about habits. Honesty about effort. Honesty about standards. You cannot evolve beyond the standards you tolerate. If you tolerate inconsistency, you build instability. If you tolerate excuses, you build weakness. If you tolerate mediocrity, you normalize it. Strong individuals raise their standards not because it feels good, but because it is necessary. Responsibility also changes how you speak to yourself. There is no self-pity here, no internal drama, no emotional indulgence, only clear observation and decisive action. This does not make you cold, it makes you effective. When responsibility becomes identity, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. You become predictable to yourself. You do what you said you would do. You finish what you start. You show up when it matters. That consistency builds trust, and trust builds inner authority. People feel it when they speak to you, not because you are loud, but because you are solid. Responsibility does not mean control over everything. It means control over response. You may not control the storm, but you control how you stand inside it. And that is power. There is a level beyond effort, a place where struggle dissolves and action becomes instinct. This is not hype. This is not mysticism. This is the state where preparation meets presence. Most people live trapped in their heads. They replay the past. They fear the future. They hesitate in the present. And because of that, they are never fully here. Flow begins the moment the noise inside you goes quiet. Not because life becomes easy, but because your attention becomes singular. No distraction, no internal debate, no emotional resistance, only action. Athletes call this the zone. Artists call it flow. Spiritual traditions call it presence. Different words, same experience. It is the moment where you stop trying and start executing. You are not thinking about the move. You are the move. You are not planning the action. You are the action. Flow is not something you access by accident. It is earned. It is built through repetition so deep that the conscious mind finally steps aside. This is why amateurs panic under pressure. Their minds are still busy negotiating. Professionals do not negotiate. They have rehearsed so thoroughly that pressure only sharpens them. Pressure does not create weakness. It reveals it. When the moment arrives, you do not rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your preparation. Flow demands presence, but presence demands discipline. You cannot access flow if your habits are chaotic. You cannot execute cleanly if your mind is undisciplined. Flow rewards those who respect the process long before the spotlight appears. This is why calm under pressure is misunderstood. People call it talent. They call it luck. They call it confidence. It is none of those. It is familiarity. It is the comfort that comes from having been here 1,000 times in training. In flow, fear still exists, but it no longer controls behavior. You feel the risk, you feel the weight, and you move anyway. This is where identity solidifies. You stop asking if you belong here. You stop doubting your right to act. You act because this is who you are now. Flow is not escape from reality. It is full contact with it. Time distorts. Self disappears. Only execution remains. This is not magic. This is mastery. Every life is shaped by systems, not intentions. People overestimate what they can change in a moment and underestimate what they become through repetition. You do not rise because of one decision. You rise because of daily structure. Habits are the invisible architecture of identity. They quietly decide who you are becoming long before results appear. This is why motivation fails and systems endure. Motivation depends on feeling. Habits depend on design. Strong people do not rely on willpower. They remove friction from the right actions and increase friction for the wrong ones. They make discipline automatic. Habits are votes for the type of person you believe yourself to be. Every time you act with integrity, you reinforce that identity. Every time you compromise, you weaken it. Over time, these votes accumulate. Not loudly, not dramatically, silently. This is how ordinary days produce extraordinary lives. The most dangerous habits are not destructive ones. They are comfortable ones. Comfort numbs urgency. It delays change. It convinces you that tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow never arrives without structure. Habits do not ask if you are ready. They execute what you practiced. This is why pressure reveals patterns. When stress hits, you do not improvise character. You reveal it. Strong habits make you reliable under chaos. They keep you moving when emotion collapses. You do not need perfect habits. You need aligned ones. Habits that support the person you are becoming, not the person you are trying to escape. This requires honesty. You cannot build a new identity with old behaviors. At some point, you must decide what version of yourself you are feeding. Habits also free mental energy. When actions are automatic, the mind becomes available for strategy, creativity, and execution. This is why disciplined people look calm. They are not fighting themselves every day. They already decided. Habits turn effort into routine, and routine into identity. Eventually, you stop forcing consistency. You become consistent. This is where change becomes permanent, because you no longer rely on discipline alone. You rely on who you are, and who you are shows up even when no one is watching. That is integrity. That is power. That is how you build a life that does not collapse under pressure.